I've always loved to make noises, to make noise and to make noises. And I had messed around with making beats and making songs for a while. Had sang in a couple garage bands back in the day. A few years ago, I just got the itch and really wanted to take it seriously. So started releasing music a couple of years ago as a solo artist. And this past year since selling the company, I've really been able to dedicate myself to.
Everybody, buckle up. This Gasparilla overload is going to the next level. We're bringing back Robi. He was with us back on season one, so either 2019 or 2020. Since then, he's come out here. He's found a way to exit his business. He's up to something big now. I can't wait for everyone listening on and viewing on to hear about it so you can support his next step. Robi, thanks for taking some time to stop back on that entrepreneur show.
Thanks, Vin. Appreciate you, man. It's yeah, that was a long time ago. It was the early days for you, and a lot's happened since then.
Yeah, and even now, as we're on the Gasparilla weekend, our Gasparillas look a little different than they used to be.
A little bit, a little bit.
Seems not as long ago as it really is, but everyone out there, if you're celebrating Gasparilla, be safe out there and have a great time. But if you are tuning in, this is the Entrepreneur Podcast, the number one podcast for small business owners, because I bring on founders of companies and brands from around the world to you each week to share their journeys, their lessons learned, everything in between. We have a rock star coming back today. If you missed all the other Gasparilla Overload episodes, be sure to go to the episode description. Check them out after Robi. A lot of rock stars stopped by this week as always. But Robi, I'm excited to get this show on the road with you. Before we talk about exiting the company, tell us about the company if they missed your first show.
Oh, for sure. So in 2015, late 2015, I started a company that did specifically ERP consulting. So we would deploy SAP, Workday, Oracle consultants on these capital projects, doing a lot of like implementations and upgrades of enterprise systems, usually for larger companies because they were the ones that could invest in these sorts
Right.
of things. So started it in 2015 and had no idea what I was doing, and bootstrapped it
So,
and grew it from there.
what was your favorite part about the bootstrapping process? Because you're wearing all the hats at that point. You're really
Yeah.
just turning an idea into reality.
I think it was since it was just me and a couple of other people. Well, at first it was just me. Um, every win was really exciting because every win was a big deal.
Yeah.
I think as time goes on and you grow and the company's expenses get much bigger and you're used to getting little wins, maybe they're not as exciting anymore individually, but I think that was the big thing in the beginning. It was like, oh man, got this win. I can do this. And it was kind of reinforcing.
I love that. Celebrating the small wins, especially in the beginning, it's going to keep the momentum going and going. But now that we know about the business, Robi, walk us through this exit process from right when you first got the idea in your head to executing.
Oh, it was interesting. It all kind of came together at the same time. So I hired a few people. I think we were maybe a staff of 10 full timers, and then we had, I don't know, 30 consultants out on projects. We had experienced nice growth, had some good clients, right? As a small group. And I had some people who had been with me for a while, and they were great work ethic, mature, everything, all those things that you would want. They were ready to really grow this thing. And, I was doing some soul searching and was thinking, okay, started this thing, enjoyed the excitement for a few years of really getting it off the ground. What does it take to get it to the next level? So as I started diving into that and talking to people, I realized to go from here to here is a huge, huge investment of your time, energy. You have to be totally dedicated, right? Um, I had my first child on the way. I was taking more of an interest in taking music seriously. So around the same time, there was a larger company who did more a broad spectrum of IT work. They
Right.
wanted to get into ERP, into our niche, and they really wanted to grow that wing of their business, but they had no expertise in it. So I ultimately decided after a lot of conversations that the people who had helped me get to here, if their careers were going to grow and they were going to reach their potential and this thing was really going to reach its potential, somebody with more resources and really the level of dedication to do it was going to be better suited than me, who had other interests and passions. And so ultimately, I didn't want to shortchange the people who would really help to get to where it was.
And that's very friendly as a CEO to even consider the employees when you have this exit shiny object right in your eyes. But the next step has certainly been exciting for you. I've been lucky enough to watch it grow in person and on social media. We'll revisit it at the end, but where can we find and follow you on social media? Because you're posting frequent updates, what you have going on there. You're all in. Where can we find you?
Sure. Instagram is Robi Music, ROBI Music. TikTok, which I really just started getting into the TikTok game. My manager tells me you need to do this, and I understand why. Is Robi Bops, ROBIBOPS, and then I'm on all streaming platforms and on YouTube as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you for sharing that, everyone. Be sure to click pause, go throw him a quick subscribe, and check out all he has to offer because he's putting in the time. He's got the passion, as he said. Walk us through this music process. Start from wherever you like.
Man, I've always loved to make noises, to make noise and to make noises. And I had messed around with making beats and making songs for a while. Had sang in a couple garage bands back in the day. A few years ago, I just got the itch and really wanted to take it seriously. So started releasing music a couple of years ago as a solo artist. And this past year since selling the company, I've really been able to dedicate myself to the marketing of it, really honing in on the craft of it, right? Really learning about other people's journeys. So I feel like this past year, 2023, has been transformative for that. Um, I've been really lucky. I've had a couple of songs that have gotten on, big playlists and whatnot. And it's weird. You have imposter syndrome when you're starting something out, even when you do get those little wins. But people are listening to it, and I've gotten good feedback and have started to find my direction with it.
Yeah, I'm proud of you, man. It's been great to see everyone out there. When you go check out his pages, you'll see exactly what we're talking about. Roby, if you had to tell these listeners, if they're just discovering you right now for the first time, one
Yeah.
song to check out, what song are you tell them to look at? I'll
I
give you
would say
two. I'll give you two. That way we're not like stuck
you give me
between.
two.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would say the one that's coming out next Friday. It's called Broken Record. If you like doo-wop vibes, right? Those vintage 50s R&B vibes with a modern twist, check that one out. Um, the one that's gotten the most streams is My Day, which ironically, and I know you feel me on this, Vin, it's about a guy who wakes up in the morning and is like, oh, I'm going to do all these things today. I'm going to crush it. I'm going to conquer the world. But then shit goes sideways and he doesn't really get any of those things done. And he's just caught in a daze. And he wonders where the day went. So if you resonate with that, check out My Day as well. That one's gotten the most streams out of any.
Perfect. Appreciate you sharing that, everyone. We've learned a lot today. We've talked about starting a company, exiting a company, and then following your passion. Robi, do you have an album, or are we just putting out singles, or what can we expect from Robi Music since you've embarked on this journey now?
I Right now I'm just putting out singles.
Okay,
I'll probably put out an EP in a few months. Right now I'm putting out a song a month, roughly.
cool.
Um, I would say what to expect from me. Uh, the songs that I'm going to put out next are a lot more daring. I've gotten a lot more into production. So I would say the songs that you'll hear from me in the next few months are the truest representation of me and what I'm going for. It's a little bit weird. There's rock vibes. It's a little bit cinematic. It's probably not as down the middle pop as what I've done before, but I think that it's going to stand out.
Absolutely. We'll keep up the good work. And now I want to ask, are we still involved in a certain capacity since you exited that company? Or I want to talk about that because now for entrepreneurs who are still ambitious, just like Robi, and they're doing a few things, I want you to prove to them it's possible.
Yeah. So I am still involved with the company Connexus that purchased my company, Envision. Envision is now the ERP division of Connexus, and they've done a great job. I've been on as a consultant, sort of helping the new owners and new management sort of uh, steer the ship. My institutional knowledge that I have, helping out where they need me. I had read a lot. There were two things I read a lot about. One was founders of companies running them into the ground because they insist on being the CEO, which they never were a CEO. That was part of the reason I sold the company. If it was going to grow, it was probably going to be best in a real CEO's hands. The second thing that I've read that founders make the mistake of doing is if they sell the company and they stay on, right, as a consultant or in whatever capacity, they try to force their will on the new owners of the company because it's your baby. You started it, you know how it works, you know how it
Yeah.
ticks.
Yep.
That was that was a challenge for me in the beginning because I think I always wanted to insert myself into it. The reality is it's their baby now, and they know what they're doing with it more than you might think they do. Um, so you don't want to be that founder that then becomes a problem for the new company and gets in the way. So I've learned how to help them and help the thing grow, but without taking the position of like, well, I started this and you don't know and I know. Because they, yes, they're learning, and there's a transitional period, but they were already successful before they purchased you. That's why they had the ability to purchase you. So that's it's an interesting position that I'm in now, but they're doing a great job with it, and I'm helping, but I'm not getting in the way. Hopefully.
Thank you for providing clarity and some advice for everyone out there who may be exiting, and there's a lot of decisions they can make about how involved they are. You nailed it, Robi. One more time, where can we find you online?
Robi Music on Instagram, Robi Bops on TikTok. It's just Robi on Spotify and all the streaming platforms. If you look up My Day, Broken Record, you'll find me.
All right, everyone, be sure to go take a listen to his music and go into the show description, not only for the rest of this year's Gasparilla Overload shows, but for Robi's first episode. It will be a lot different. I will sound a lot different as a host as well. I hate listening to those early shows, but everyone out there, you got to start somewhere. Doesn't matter how bad it is. And the show is at That Entrepreneur Show on all social media. Be sure to head to YouTube to Vincent A. Lancy, throw a subscribe there, and you will find That Entrepreneur Show's podcast channel with some clips from Robi today. And with that, we are signing off, both of us in Tampa. If you're celebrating, be safe. Robi, thanks again for stopping by.
Thank you, Van. Appreciate you, bro.